the 2015 Varsity men's matchup between Greenmountain Achievements and your Proctor Hands. Starting out with Achievements, number 2 was sophomore Matt Wall. Number 3 is senior Kyle Cap. Number 4 is junior Courtney Cole. Number 10 is junior Lucas Trask. Number 22 junior Robert Hassel. And this is by Matt Valerio. And now the starting lineup for your Proctor Hands. Number 3 is junior Nick Swain. Number 12 is sophomore Ann Perry. Number 13 is junior Kathleen Hawkins. Number 21 is sophomore Logan Landon. And number 22 is junior Captain Kurt Thompson. The band is performed by Damien and assisted by Ricky.
Hey, lock down on 3. 1, 2, 3, lock down!
At this time, please grab from your caps for the playing of the national anthem.
Put them on.
Okay, we're here at the Bajani Gym on this fifth day?
A Monday.
It is the 5th, I'm told, of January 2015. To watch the Proctor Phantom men take on the Green Mountain Chieftains. Proctor comes in with the same starting lineup: Nick Swain, number 3, Gannon McKieran, Kyle Miles, Logan Landon, and Curtis Tomlinson. The Chieftains start off with Mac Walton, Kyle Kemp, Cooper McCoy, Lucas Trask, Robert Hazelton, and I'm here with the lovely and talented Alyssa Valerio on loan from PEGTV at Providence College.
Thanks.
Proctor comes out and it's typical man-to-man. With the first rebound, Logan Landon. Proctor moving left to right here at the Bajani Gym. A little bit of a sparse crowd tonight. Probably not a lot of travelers coming up from Chester and that area. Nick Swain with the first shot of the day. Drains a 2. Green Mountain seems to want to push the ball. Nice job getting the ball up the corner, catching the Proctor defense off guard, and we're knotted at 2 with 7 minutes left in the first quarter. Shot off the mark, and Nick Swain with the interception, and errant pass just a little behind Gannon McCarran. Clearly it looks like both teams want to put the pressure on the other from an offensive standpoint and move the ball up the floor quickly.
Yeah, regardless, good hustle play by both teams on that last one. Not sure what Green Mountain has for depth, but whichever team can run, I think, is going to inevitably win the game.
Green Mountain seems to be able to move the ball against the Proctor defense relatively well. A little bit of a scrum underneath on the rebounding action, and ball stays with the Chieftains.
Proctor has a couple of solid big men, and normally rebounding is one of their strong points, so we'll see how they do during the length of this game.
Green Mountain moving the ball around the outside, seems to have pretty good ball security, and the second I say that, of course, there's a turnover. Nevertheless, Proctor up the floor quickly, and Green Mountain's
definitely not afraid to put outside pressure, especially on the big men.
Logan landed on a nice, little dump inside. Phantoms take a 4-2 lead.
Green Mountain seems to be running a drive and dish offense, and that's, if Proctor can play good help side defense, that will be shut down quickly.
Logan Landon left all alone on the outside, but that's not his shot. Logan Landon trying to make that move on the inside. Logan has this tendency to get on the low block and then always turns right. When he does, he gets himself buried under the hoop, and he can't get that shot off. So he has not only the defender playing defense on him, but he's got the backboard playing defense on him too. In this case, he gets bailed out and gets to the line for 2. I would encourage Logan to take a look at one of these tapes and take my advice to get on the second block, so when he turns right, he has an angle. But who am I? Long 3 by number 4, Cooper McCoy. Curtis Tomlinson tracks down the rebound, and up come the Phantoms. That was the play right there. A little high pick and roll, and Logan Landon was open, just couldn't quite connect on the pass. Green Mountain in a bit of a weave. Turnover to the Phantoms. Logan Landon with a jump hook. Back come Green Mountain Chieftains. Nice rebound inside by Gannon McCarran, and again pushing the ball up. Curtis Tomlinson off the mark. Sometimes when Curtis goes to the hoop like that, he goes strong until he meets the contact, and then there's a little bit of clutching and the like going on, and he'd probably serve himself better if he just went strong and took the hit.
Yeah, going strong to the hoop sometimes is tough, but ultimately finishing has to be your main goal, not just drawing the foul every time.
You can't depend on the referees to bail you out. And so far in this game, there's only been 1 foul, and there's 3.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Nick Ojula getting set to check in for the Phantoms.
I never mind that, though. I always prefer when the refs let you play a little bit more.
Last hoop by Gannon McCarron. Nice little one dribble drive to the right and a little floater, and hits that.
Good move by Green Mountain's
Green Mountain
4.
seems to be getting the shots they want to get, but they aren't quite falling. That's not unusual when you're playing in an away gym that probably you don't get up to very much. Dump inside to Kyle Miles. Working in there.
Refs are definitely letting them play, though. I think both teams need to recognize that.
I think if push comes to shove, every player and coach would love to have the refs let them play a little bit.
True.
Score inside by Green Mountain. Now closes the gap 7-4 with 2:26 left in the first quarter.
If the refs are going to let you play, you need to recognize that.
Nick Swain with a high pick and roll to Logan Landon. Very nice recognition by Nick Swain. Nick can get that jump shot off the curl pretty much anytime he wants to, but it was a nice unselfish play that time to hit the roller and reward them for working hard inside. Another turnover by Green Mountain. Proctor comes back. Now in for the Phantoms, Nick Ojula and Reed Farley, replacing Gannon McCarron and Curtis Tomlinson. Gannon did a nice job of taking that to the hoop. Generally, you don't make much headway dribbling through a zone, but he found a little seam that time and was able to get off a nice little kind of left-handed floater off the glass.
Green Mountain is playing a relatively aggressive zone, but they need to do a better job, I think. Closing
up the back end.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you're going to chase on the outside, you got to have someone on the inside to clean up the mess when you overcommit. And I think that's where you've seen a couple of when Green Mountain is in the zone. They seem to switch back and forth. They're going man, going zone, going man, forcing Proctor to recognize. I think when they're in the man-to-man, Proctor's doing a good job with the pick and rolls, and they switch it up with the zone, and sometimes that can get pretty confusing to the offensive team.
And when a team's able to switch defenses based on makes, misses, turnovers, it just shows that they're well coached and they're an overall smart team. For the most part, though, Green Mountain's all the same height. So,
it's not like they have one big rim protector in there.
True.
You're right. Proctor runs a little back screen on the right side and is able to draw a foul for Nick Ojula. Drains them both, and Proctor stretches its lead to 13-4 in the first quarter. Of the teams we've seen this year, it looks like Green Mountain can be competitive with the Phantoms, but if you don't hit shots, that's a problem.
Yeah. What I like to see from a team like Green Mountain is that they're playing their game. They're a little bit smaller than Proctor overall, but they're quick. So they're doing quick dribble drives and looking for that outside shot every once in a while. Not trying to play a game that they're not capable of, playing to their skill set.
Green Mountain putting some high pressure on the ball handlers. Must be something that, well, that time Curtis Tomlinson hit everything, including the hoop. Backboard, rim couple 3 times, and dropped through anyway. Those are those nice soft Proctor rims and a good touch by Curtis Tomlinson. Nick Ojula on the ground.
It's a good hustle play. You always like to see the smallest man on the court picking up the rebound. then you know he's working.
Little weave. Oh, and Curtis Tomlinson in rhythm drops a long three at the buzzer. Curtis has not been shooting the ball that well so far this year, although, you know, he's one of those very streaky shooters who, when he gets hot, can hit 5, 6, 7 in a row, and not only look like the best player on the floor, but the best player in the world. You always like a streaky shooter when they're on.
And that last play actually was similar to the weave that Green Mountain was running earlier, just executed better.
So at the end of the first quarter, Proctor Phantoms have a 19-6 lead. No fouls for the Phantoms and only 2 fouls for the Chieftains, so nobody's in particular foul trouble. Phantoms start the second quarter with Nick Swain, Nick Ojala, Kyle Miles, Reed Farley, and Curtis Tomlinson.
And despite the score, Green Mountain actually hasn't been doing that poorly. Just they haven't been able to get some shots to fall.
And that's absolutely the case. I think that the defense has been good. The activity on offense has been good. They move the ball. They move themselves. But when you're not hitting shots, you look worse than you are.
Mm-hmm. They probably could limit some turnovers also, and as I say that, there's one. But for the most part, I've been playing relatively well.
Let's see if during the first part of this quarter, Curtis Tomlinson can get on one of those rolls that he goes on where he hits 2 or 3 in a row. When he hits a couple, he won't be shy about taking a couple more. The question is whether they're going to go and continue the streak or whether or not he'll have some difficulty with that. That is one of the weirdest plays I've ever seen. It almost looked like a football play between the legs into the front court for a layup. And Proctor now
definitely making the highlight reel.
Turnover by the Phantoms, and
both teams have been relatively sloppy with the ball this first quarter and into the second quarter.
Some of that might be coming off a Christmas, New Year's break, and teams not getting as much either practice or game time as they might during a regular kind of school year time.
On that last play, I'd like to give Kyle Miles some credit for trying to draw that charge, but sometimes the refs don't see it. Yes, Kyle Miles.
Yep. Again, very goes to Curtis Tomlinson going strong to the hoop, and Green Mountain not giving up on the play. I think it was number 3, Kyle Kemp, looking a little bit about like Sean Kemp. For you young people, go look it up. But former NBA player with about a 48-inch vertical leap, swatted that off the backboard, and Proctor maintains the possession. Proctor is allowing Green Mountain to kind of hang in this game, and Green Mountain is doing Proctor a favor by missing as many easy shots as Proctor is. So
Proctor can't keep up physically with Green Mountain, but I think they're having a hard time keeping up in terms of speed. I think Green Mountain's just a tad bit quicker, especially in some of the guard positions.
I think it's a looked like one of the things we have seen in the past is teams that are a bit more physical than Proctor have been able to beat them to balls or push them off balls and push them off the boards. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that at this point. And maybe it's the the combination that happens to be in there at this point. That shot was off the mark and goes out of bounds to Green Mountain. Score is still 19-8 with 5:30 left in the second quarter. Green Mountain moving the ball well again with its penetration to the middle and kicking out to a, looks like an easy jump shot, but just not quite hitting those shots.
That drive and dish offense is really effective, but the key to it is
you got to hit your shots.
Yeah, you got to hit the shots that you're kicking them to.
It does seem that the Green Mountain guards are able to get the corner on the Proctor guards, at least the folks who were in there the last couple of minutes, and get to the middle, but Green Mountain has not been hitting the shots. Little bunny inside off an inbounds play that time, and
that's just
Proctor lead is now 9.
That last play was just miscommunication by Proctor Post's players.
You see that, however, all the time. How many times girls' games, guys' games, professional games, do you end up losing somebody on the inside for an easy bunny off an inbound play? It's almost unbelievable.
Yeah, communication's definitely key on defense, and if you don't have that, playing defense as a team, especially on man, is very difficult.
I think Kyle Miles just picked up his second foul.
Yeah, it was an illegal screen. I think the ref she saw him throw a hip or something. Not really sure, but
yeah, I didn't pick it up.
No.
The Green Mountain coach is standing sort of right in front of where I'm looking, and I have a blind spot in the corner right of the court, so anything could happen over there. There you go. Now he's sitting down. I can see everything.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell him to stay right there.
Don't move.
Proctor moving the ball, looking inside. Now they have to stay patient. There's no reason to force a shot. Move it for a minute if you got to move it for a minute until you get a good shot. Nick Swain, jump shot.
Good hustle by Braden.
Now that looked like a good tackle.
Curious if there's any crossover between football players and basketball players on the court right now.
That was a number 14, Matt Chambers, for Green Mountain.
They had a good roll. That play they had Logan Landon rolling to the basket, and he was there. I just don't think the inbounder could see that. They had him for sure.
This must be you get, coffee of the day. Well, at some places, I think we got the call of the day. Everybody likes the illegal screen. If I were to look at that 3 times, I don't know that I'd see an illegal screen. I don't know if maybe he got his hands in there. Didn't look like he threw his hip or moved his knee out. That's one of those ones I think that sometimes the refs anticipate a call rather than actually see something.
True. Happens too often, especially at this level.
Well, and especially if there's a point of emphasis that's going out there where they don't want people being blindsided with screens, and so make it a point of emphasis. And now anytime anybody flinches on a screen, they think it's a illegal screen. My recommendation is to watch the game, don't anticipate it.
True, I agree.
Green Mountain still patiently moving the ball, getting to the middle. Now, that little crossover froze Gannon McCarron right in his steps, and was able to get an easy layup off of it. Now, Proctor didn't get any help from the inside, and Gannon comes back and takes the favor back, putting Proctor up by 9 again with 2:32 left in the second quarter.
What did Proctor start this quarter with?
I don't know the answer to that.
For some reason, I feel like it was 19, so I'm not sure if that's
the score was 19-6.
Yeah, so that was their first hoop of the game, of this quarter for Proctor.
Well, now it looks like Green Mountain's starting to find the range a little bit. Proctor now up 21-15, having only scored 2 points in the second quarter so far. Green Mountain is right back in this game, and that athleticism that we're talking about. That a little bit more of aggressiveness, that step closer to the ball on most plays. Again, Proctor beat to the ball on that particular jump shot. Those are kind of hard to get sometimes. If you don't hit the rim or if you hit the shot or hit the backboard wildly, it's very difficult to kind of judge the rebound. Then it's just a matter of hustle.
Good patience on Green Mountain's part in that last little run there on the offensive end, but also good team defense by Proctor, staying patient, staying on help side, hedging on picks. You know, that's not always easy to teach, but team defense is definitely very important.
Proctor with a little bit of a
man
flex going on. Again, what I call the worst offense in the history of man. But sometimes if you got to get your team moving, just get the ball moving, get some feet moving. The flex will at least get your team moving. What people often can't figure out is how to actually get a shot out of the flex. That particular case, an air ball, and down the other end comes Green Mountain quickly. And now it's a 4-point game with 47 seconds left in the first half.
Proctor's still only scoring 2 points this whole quarter.
If I were Proctor, I would try to take the air out of the ball for the last 30 seconds. Try to get a good shot, preferably for Nick Swain. And everything seemed to work except for the taking the air out of the ball part. 28 seconds left, and now it's Green Mountain's chance for a last shot and a half. We've seen how they move the ball. Double screen, dribble and kick. It's a little early. Now Proctor has the chance for that last shot. Somebody needs to explain this concept to people. You know, when you get the last shot, it means the other team doesn't. And it doesn't seem to benefit or hurt either side. So, at the end of the second quarter, Proctor Phantoms 21, Green Mountain Chieftains 17. Nobody in particular foul trouble for either side. I believe that Kyle Miles has 2. And everybody, there are only 4 fouls for Green Mountain, and they only have one foul each. So there's plenty of room to work in the second half. Okay, we'll come back and I'll give you a point total before we start the second half. We'll take a little break for the next 10 minutes and be back with you soon. Okay, we're back. A couple minutes left in halftime. I want to go through the scores for Proctor. Nick Swain has 2. Gannon McCarron has 4. Logan Landon has 5. Curtis Tomlinson has 8. And 2 points for Nick Ojala. For the visiting Chieftains, Kyle Kemp with 2 points. Cooper McCoy with 5. Lucas Trask with 4, Matt Chambers with 2, Stephen Kingsbury with 2, and Robert Hazelton with 2. Score at halftime is 21-17. Proctor ahead, but Proctor only scored 2 points after putting 19 up on the board in the first quarter. Scored only 2 points in the second quarter, and the Chieftains started hitting a few shots. And apparently the officials have left the building, perhaps not to return. Could be that the scorer was harassing them. You never know what happens in these games. I'm guessing they weren't sharing a dressing room, but it's possible. Yeah, we need that guy too. And here comes the clock operator. Looks like we're pretty close to back in business. You know, we have to be the smartest group of monkeys on the planet because all three of us are crowded onto one side. There's nobody even on the other side. What's the matter with you people? All right.
I like being close to you.
Green Mountain takes it in on the possession. Tough cross-court pass. Gannon McCarron makes the interception.
Yeah,
Proctor now back in business.
Yeah, on that last play, Gannon should have just gone right up with it.
Yeah, he did have a shot right there in the middle of the lane. This half, Proctor moving right to left in their home whites. That inside out for Nick Swain is the game. You get him those kind of shots repeatedly and he's going to put 20 up on you, in a big hurry, 3 at a time.
Yeah, in the second game versus West Rutland really focused on him defensively as really their...
Nice play.
As really, he'd be the thing that would keep them out of the game. But Green Mountain doesn't seem to have done that this half, or the first half at least.
They seem to be addressing the outside shooting of Proctor with their zone as opposed to trying to take their jump shooters out of it man to man.
Yeah, and if the other team isn't focusing on Nick Swain as much defensively, Proctor should be looking for him even more.
Definitely, it looks like Proctor's trying to get Nick Swain coming off some screens early in the half. Now, I don't understand what was trying to be accomplished by Kyle Miles with that move. Now, when he gets to the middle like that, he's pretty dangerous. He has a nice soft touch. Just can't get that shot to fall. And back comes Green Mountain.
But they're all both playing college. Division I.
Green Mountain with the offensive rebound.
I actually like the way that Green Mountain's playing. It's a relatively traditional offense, drive and dish, pick and roll, but those are the plays that win games, you know.
They look to me, and there's I believe it was a long two. And now Green Mountain pulls within 2. But Green Mountain seems to be playing what we used to call a rules offense, where you don't have set plays, but you have certain rules under certain circumstances that you follow. So you're picking and rolling, you're screening away, you're back screening, you're reversing the ball. And
playing basketball.
Exactly. So, you're not, quote unquote, calling plays. You're trying to fit your offense to the rules that you've been taught, and sooner or later it becomes second nature.
Sometimes that's the best way to do it, because it's easy to teach a team where they're supposed to be during certain plays, but...
Well, and how many times have you heard somebody, when somebody running plays and you come in for somebody else and they go, geez, I don't know that position because I only learned what I had to do.
Or if the play doesn't work, they don't know where to go from there.
In a rules-based offense, there's never any of that because everybody has the same rules. Nevertheless, Proctor maintaining a 4-point lead with 4:38 left in the third quarter, and a deep 3 by number 3, Kyle Kemp, brings Green Mountain within 1.
Shooter, stay down. Nice help, Robert. Not bad. Good.
I think that Curtis Tomlinson doesn't think he can get that shot off.
Yeah.
And it looks to me like he's got plenty of room to do it. And I know in the first half he had a shot blocked or so, but I don't think you can let that influence you.
He also has a very good vertical, so even if the person is close enough on him, he can just, if he takes the initiative to jump on his jump shot, he can get right over them because he's tall to begin with, but he also is a good leaper.
Nice shot off the screen by Kyle Miles, showing his good touch. Proctor extends its lead to 3, 25-22 with 3:40 left in the third quarter. And Kyle Miles hitting that too.
Logan's wasn't really in very good position for that.
He got over there late, and rather than pick up the foul, he tried to draw an offensive foul, but you know when you're falling 2 feet before the guy ever gets there,
and the wrong way,
you're not going to pick that up very often.
Yeah, good attempt though. Sometimes just getting yourself to commit, good attempt, because it just sometimes just getting yourself to commit to taking an offensive and giving up your body to that is the hardest part than actually taking it.
I think the best part about that play is he didn't pick up a foul doing it. Besides that, remains open to question. Green Mountain just having that extra step, that little extra bit of work. You know, they're beating him to the ball, beating Proctor to the balls right now, beating him to the offensive boards. And you know, when it really comes to offensive boards, that is really about effort.
Yeah, I don't think Green Mountain is a better rebounding team than Proctor, but I definitely think they're outworking them on the boards. And effort is that one thing you can control. If your shot's not falling, you can definitely control how hard you're playing.
Giving you a little bit of effort there on the floor.
Yeah, and that's the work.
Here comes Green Mountain back very fast. These are almost mirror images, these teams. You know, it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. Switch the uniforms, and they'll look very much alike in some ways, except for the last couple of minutes. Seems that Green Mountain's been outworking Proctor a little bit.
I think Proctor needs to commit a little bit more on boxing out, because some of them are definitely running to the rim looking for that offensive board, but the Green Mountain players are just loose and open and not being boxed out.
See that time again how Logan Landon got himself buried under the basket with nothing to do? He's got to recognize that when he turns right there, he is always under the basket. And I might write a note and go to his house and stick it on his door and say, high block, high block, high block.
Well, I'd hope that'd get the point across. Even if you were to just jab right and then maybe take a left spin.
Yeah, turning the other way would help too. Mm-hmm. But he's got such nice touch and kind of good finishing skills in there. It's just a small technical correction. See where he's burying himself? Look at where he is down on that block. He's got to be above that block, not below that block.
If he only spins right, though, being on that left block wouldn't be the worst thing.
I agree with that.
Oftentimes he's on the wrong side, though.
But let's start with the easy part. And Curtis Tomlinson does seem, when he gets himself open tonight, that he has got his stroke going. That's his third three-pointer of the night. A little bit of defensive energy that time for Proctor, doubling up the Green Mountain offensive player and causing them to turn the ball over.
Yeah, you really have to appreciate the hustle of each team. Each team's working hard, and as a result, some of the plays this game have been a little weird, but definitely have to respect the effort.
See that? Always right. But Logan gets put on the line, 4-2. 10 seconds left in the half. Misses the first. Proctor maintaining a 6-point lead with 10 seconds left. Logan Landon getting ready to shoot a second. And doesn't get that one to go either. And here comes Green Mountain quickly. Draining the shot, pretty much at the buzzer. Proctor has a 4-point lead, 30-26 at the end of the third quarter. Not a lot of fouls in this game. Green Mountain had 2 in that quarter. So far in the half, Proctor has none. Now, on the one hand, that might be a good thing. On the other hand, sometimes when you aren't picking up some fouls, it means that you aren't quite in the game defensively.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. Sometimes fouls can be a trouble. Teams can have trouble with foul trouble. But at the same time, you need to pick up some fouls just to show that you're playing defensive aggressively.
And I also think, to me, to set a physical tone in the game, every now and then you got to put somebody on their butt.
Yeah.
And if you have no fouls at all, it's unlikely that you are exercising the amount of physicality that it takes to have a little bit of an intimidation factor to your defense. You want to have a team back on its heels if you're a little bit, and sometimes that physicality in the form of a foul or two is a good thing.
And sometimes when you knock them down once, they think about going up for that layup the second time.
Absolutely.
A little hesitantly.
Nice passing on the interior. Good hands by Reed Farley. And Green Mountain had a nice job passing the ball, and Proctor was equal to the task defensively.
Definitely playing tighter defense on Nick Swain this half.
Nick Swain a little bit off the mark tonight. Sometimes you have if you have a reffing crew that's not giving you some of the calls, you get a little frustrated and throws off your shot. But I honestly have to give a fair amount of credit to the Green Mountain defense in the way they're handling Nick Swain today. And right there, that was all about size. And I know the Green Mountain player, can't see, I think that was number 3.
Yeah, number 3.
Kyle Kemp thought he got fouled on the play, but he drained the shot anyway. And here comes Green Mountain, down by 2, but with the ball with 6:45 left in the fourth quarter, an ability to tie the game or go ahead on this possession.
I've definitely noticed that Green Mountain's is a well-coached team, being able to switch defenses just based on how the last possession went, but also they've been doing a good job running the lanes, crossing underneath the basket, and being able to get the fast-paced offense going quickly for them.
And Green Mountain just tied the game on that shot. Some of the shots that weren't going down for Green Mountain in the first half are going down for them in this second half. If they leave you out there all alone, you got to make them respect you, even though that might not be exactly the shot that Proctor wanted. That was a beautiful up and under by number 4, Cooper McCoy. And that puts Green Mountain ahead by 2 with 5:48 left in the fourth quarter.
Seems to me all the shots that Green Mountain was missing in the first half have seemed to be falling all right now.
and look at what they're doing with Nick Swain. They are shadowing him everywhere he goes on the floor. They don't care about helping off of him. If you're the other Proctor players, you got to notice that and say, look, we'll work off him and get him open if we can, but there's no point in forcing it. Good defensive play, good hands on the turnover that time. Nick Ojala brings the ball across half court, and Proctor calls for the timeout with 5:15 left in the fourth quarter, down by 2, but with the ball.
I think Proctor has recognized the fact that Green Mountain's a tad bit quicker than them as a whole, so they've been worrying about getting back on defense as opposed to rebounding. So it's leaving Green Mountain a lot of opportunity to get those rebounds on their defensive end.
It seems that I can't see from here the 5. It looks like the starting 5 are going to be the group going back into the game after this timeout. And there was a fair amount of luck in the first half going in to Logan Landon and Kyle Miles and exercising that size and strength advantage at those positions. If you can get a couple of those things going, maybe they can play some inside and out and get a couple of shots out of Nick Swain before this game is over.
Yeah, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Proctor has to play what was working for them earlier in the game.
Sometimes when you get up early, you get a false sense of security. And in this game, I think the only reason that Proctor got up as much as they were early is that Green Mountain was just not hitting open shots. Mm-hmm. Once those shots started going, then this game evened up, and we are where we are. There's Nick Swain coming off that screen. Not a bad shot. That's definitely in his wheelhouse, but didn't happen to hit that one.
Yeah, when teams get up by a lot early, they get a little bit complacent.
Look at Green Mountain going to the offensive board. I mean, that's your 2 guard who happens to be about 5'8", literally just stepping in and grabbing the ball because nobody got a butt in his gut.
That's what I was saying earlier. Proctor hasn't been committing to boxing out, and because Green Mountain's a little bit quicker, they've been able to avoid that, and they have been definitely rushing the net and looking for that offensive board.
That shot was wide open. Not a bad shot in general, but it looks like Green Mountain is giving them that right now. They're daring them to hit outside shots, and Proctor's not banging them down. And Green Mountain is starting to hit everything from the floor. I think Proctor needs to get the ball inside, and it's not bad to shoot a jump shot, but do it inside out where you can step into a ball, or get it inside where you can dominate with your size, as Kyle Miles did on that little right-handed hook in the middle of the lane.
Yeah, Proctor, for the most part, has a height advantage, so they should really be using that during the rest of this quarter.
And with 2 of their players, particularly with Logan Landon and with Kyle Miles, they have height and strength. Nice rebound that time, good defense. And here comes Proctor pushing the ball up. Got to really look inside, I think. Logan landed way out there with the ball. I don't know how valuable that is. I mean, I know they're trying to run a little bit of a flex here. In and out. Little rumble in the jungle in the back court there. I don't know what tangle that was, but he had Curtis Tomlinson tied up on the floor with Mac Walton for Green Mountain. Proctor into its weave, trying to turn the corner, and Curtis Tomlinson travels.
Yeah, Green Mountain's point guard's pretty much been able to do whatever he wanted in this game, They're letting him get all the way to the 3-point line as opposed to picking him up early and forcing him to make those decisions.
Yeah, that's a good point, Alyssa. I mean, one of the important things, you're not worried about somebody shooting a shot from just over half court or from 30 feet, but you'd like to put enough ball pressure on them where they have difficulty making decisions and trying to get them into their offense.
Right. And for the most part, there hasn't been much 3-point game from Green Mountain's point guard, number 4, I believe. I'm not sure his name.
Yeah, Cooper McCoy.
Yeah, there hasn't been much 3-point game, but he's been getting a lot of his points off of driving and beating his defender. So if you pick him up early and force him to make that pass early, then you can maybe avoid him getting the ball back.
Well, one other indicator you might think of in this game when you come to looking at the physicality of what's going on. Right now, Proctor has 0 team fouls with 2:59 left in the 4th quarter.
You want to know what that says to me? No easy layups.
At least for the last 2:59, right?
Or even more ball pressure. So pick up a couple of hand checks, but get them uncomfortable,
Maybe they're worried about the speed and quickness of the Green Mountain point guard. He does have a good handle. I don't see much of a left hand out of him. He can cross over. Now that ball pressure seemed to put a little bit of a damper on that offense, but again, it doesn't seem like Green Mountain's actually quote-unquote running plays. They seem to be running a rules-based kind of offense that isn't relying upon one player to do a particular thing because everybody's got the same rules. So with 2:39 left in the fourth quarter, we have the Proctor Phantoms at home hosting Green Mountain Chieftains down by 2. Green Mountain has the ball.
If I were at Proctor at this point in the game, I would get up on my player. I would grab a little extra jersey. I would box out a little bit harder. And even if you end up picking up that foul, it makes the other team uncomfortable and makes them pick up their pace just that much more, which could end up causing them to make more mistakes.
Well, there also is going to be probably no 1-and-1 in this game when it comes to Proctor. So you may as well use those fouls and take Green Mountain out of their offense. Boy, they have Nick Swain bottled up. He's trying to come off that screen, and the Green Mountain defender is there before the Proctor guy is.
See right there, Gannon McKieran, even that little extra bit of defense, getting up on him a little bit more sometimes forces the other player to draw the foul.
As much as anything, it's about disrupting the offensive thought process of the other team.
The rhythm of the offense, too. Causes them to take shots they wouldn't otherwise, causes them to make passes that maybe they wouldn't if they had a little bit more time to think about it.
Getting down to crunch time now, 1 minute and 43 seconds left. Proctor down by 2. Green Mountain seeming to be able to turn the corner and get to the rim. Proctor's defense is good enough at this point that nothing seems to be falling for either team.
Green Mountain's getting a little frustrated even though they are ahead in this game.
Now Proctor comes back, moving right to left. Down 2 with 1:27 left in the game. Looks like it's shaping up to be an excellent ending to what's been a very tough played game with 2 very evenly matched teams.
I think Proctor needs to recognize that Nick Swain.
He is. That's almost impossible to hit that shot. He literally, I believe he shot that ball from the stage. I don't know how he can get himself again and again in that position. I mean, the first time he hit the side of the backboard, which is what you'd expect, and then secondly, he somehow was able to put it in. And now, score tied, 47 seconds. Proctor bringing the ball up on the miss. Timeout, Proctor. Jake Eaton calls a full timeout. And it'll be stunning if Proctor finishes a half with no team fouls whatsoever. Perhaps the refs were also taking the night off.
Perhaps.
But every now and then I hear a tweet, so I think there's either birds in here or something.
That could also benefit Proctor, though, if they need to stop the clock a couple more times this half. They have 6 or 7 times they can do it.
Absolutely, just got to make sure they're not in the act of shooting when it occurs. So now if you're Proctor, what are you going to do? I would like to see, if it were me, I'd like to see some down screens. They're going to free people up coming off of those screens and then have the big men, whether it's Kyle Miles or Logan Landon, flash to the middle so they can turn for easy shots there.
I agree. I think the way to win this game is going to be with their post players in this last 43 seconds. I almost would like to see some isolation. Maybe everyone spread the floor, get some one-on-one going on in the paint with their big men.
Yep, there's the low screen, and there's the ball inside.
Now they got to pick up.
Everything looked good except for the execution, and now Green Mountain comes back, 33 seconds, and they turn the ball over.
Green Mountain's coach arguing that there was a tip, and the ball should be going the other way, but
no such luck. And here comes Proctor again. Again, running that flex thing. You know, you get Logan Landon up where he is. That is not where you want him. He cannot allow this to be uncontested. Well, you got to know where you are in the game right there and not allow a uncontested hoop. If you got to put the guy into the stands, then you got to put him into the stands, but make him earn it at the line. You got to make him earn that at the line. Nevertheless, the Green Mountain player was able to take the ball from just before half court and drive the length of the court and put it up and in for 2.
I agree.
And now Proctor's coming back with 9 seconds left, looking for a 2 to tie or a 3 to win.
I agree. At this point in the game, Proctor needs to let him earn those 2 points. You know, get a hard foul, ensure that he doesn't make that layup, and, you know, it makes both of them. He earned them, but if he only makes 1, then that's 1 less than he would have otherwise.
And that's also a thing when you're Logan's size. You can get up there with both hands and get that ball on the backboard. You know, and you're probably going to draw some body doing that, but that ball's not going to go in. Yeah, very tough play. But, you know, this is what happens when you have a younger team. I mean, people have to remember that Proctor is going to be graduating almost nobody this year, and that's a learning. That is a learning process that takes place only with a number of games that take place that are close games, not just your average game that you're winning by 10 or losing by 10.
My only problem with Proctor running that flex in the last 43 seconds was the fact that the flex takes some time and it wasn't getting them the post the look that they need on the inside.
See what just happened there?
You have a 30 left. That's his second.
Green Mountain didn't allow Proctor to cross half court without fouling. So Proctor had to waste 4 of those 9 seconds getting the ball in and getting it up to half court. Now they're down to 5 seconds, and they're probably going to have the ball out somewhere around half court if they are going to give him the ball in the area where the foul was committed. Curtis Tomlinson was able to get over half court, but the foul was committed basically right in front of me just before the half court.
Now here's a question for Shaky, and do you go for the tie or do you go for the win?
You know what I go for? The open shot. You know, whether it's a three-pointer or whether you can get the ball inside on a lob. Yeah, they're going to get the ball basically at half court.
But at this point, you have to ask yourself, who's been working for you this game? Nick Swain hasn't got a lot of looks. Curtis Tomlinson's hit a couple threes. But do you rely on your post maybe to get a roll to the hoop?
Well, they ran a high screen and ran 2 people off at that time, Nick Swain being one. And that's the lob over the top I was thinking about. And that ties the score at the buzzer.
Great look by Curtis Tomlinson into Logan Landon right there.
That's the backside of that play that people don't look at, because you're looking at the 2 players rushing to the ball off the screen, and as well you should. You're going to have Nick Swain coming off on one. You're going to have Curtis Tomlinson coming off on the other. 2 shooters you have to respect. And on the backside of that, Logan Landon, who set the screen, rolled to the hoop, and that lob is what got him the shot.
And that's one of the worst things you can do at sometimes is pick and stand. Pick and roll always is another option, and Curtis Tomlinson, I believe, was the one passing it inbounds. Good lob, you know? That's not always the easiest pass, especially across court.
Well, and that also wasn't, that was not an easy shot. That's one of those 3 or 4 footers that, yeah, when you're shooting around in your driveway, it looks like an easy shot. But when the time's counting down 3, 2, 1, and you're on the left side of the court and you like to somehow shoot from behind the backboard, that's not your area of the court.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, Proctor was able to tie the game. Very exciting finish.
You know, I bet you Logan Landon has practiced that one, counting down to himself in his own driveway.
I think they're checking the official score to see if he's got it all counted up right. But he's using both his hands and his feet, so I think everything is good.
1
My fault. I didn't turn it on. My fault. I've got the
And we jump it up to start the overtime. And tip won by Green Mountain. Possession will be to Proctor the next time down.
Momentum is huge going into overtime, but I'm not really sure which team has the upper hand.
That little drive to the lane and dish to the foul line.
You know, that's been Green Mountain's game all game.
Proctor's establishing something inside.
If I'm not mistaken, that is his 3rd or 4th foul of the game.
Let me check with the score. Yes, that's 3rd foul on Kyle Kemp. At this point, nobody's really worried about that.
Proctor will be shooting. Yeah, that's not what Green Mountain wanted.
Proctor has yet to commit a foul in the entire half and overtime.
I definitely would not hesitate to use a couple of those as these minutes go on, because
you may need to get the ball back at some point.
True. Do coaches get extra timeouts as
half? Yeah, I believe they get 2.
Because Jake Eaton could use those fouls as a way to stop the clock.
That was a nice wide open shot by Nick Swain, a little off the mark. Out to Curtis Tomlinson for 3.
Curtis Tomlinson is making you eat your words this game.
Now we've got it. Well, now we've got it on the odd number, so Proctor up by 1.
You know, if Curtis Tomlinson keeps looking for his own shot, he could get really hot in this overtime, and that could put the game away for the Phantoms.
That's for sure. He had a little run there in the first half, and then got quiet for a while.
Sometimes that's just a matter of coming off the floor for a little while. You know, sometimes the coaches
rebound by Nick Swain, and Proctor pushing the ball up the right side. Curtis Tomlinson in the corner, and to Kyle Miles at the top of the key. And now Proctor looks to reset, go into its offense. A little bit of a flex action going on, and Curtis Tomlinson is there on the inside for a little lefty 2, and Proctor goes up 3 points.
You hear Jake Eaton yelling from the sideline, patience, patience, because he does have a younger team on the court right now. So, sometimes those things, they get a little frazzled or feel a little rushed, but definitely right there was a good example of what patience will get you, is that easy layup if you work it long enough.
Proctor with the rebound.
That point guard for Green Mountain, number 4, has a good, really uses his pivot foot.
Now that's a time where Curtis was trying to be unselfish, but he probably had a wide open layup if he decided to take it.
Good hands by Nick Swain.
And Proctor gets the ball across half court. Now Green Mountain matching up.
That is his 4th foul. That's tough because he's the only senior on the court, Especially in games like this, you need that leadership out there.
Yes, that's Kyle Kemp's 4th foul, but with 1:18 left, aside from, you don't want anybody to foul out, but if you end the game and you got 4, that means you played.
That foul shot would have been really important. Hitting both of them puts the game a little bit further away. Makes Green Mountain that much more in a rush to get those shots with only a minute left.
Right now it's still a 1-possession game. And Green Mountain in for 2. I couldn't see through the Green Mountain coach who scored that hoop. But
I'm not sure either.
Curtis Tomlinson doing a decent job getting the ball up court. That's the slightness of Curtis, where a bump like that puts him into the backcourt, and other folks maybe not so much. I really don't fault him for that. It seemed like it was clearly a foul, like a forearm shiver or something, pushing him back. The only complaint I really have is that you really want to get the ball out of your hands and moving.
Yeah. That's what Proctor really needs to do is move the ball, pass it, cut, off-ball screens.
And it's not like Proctor doesn't have ball handlers with Nick Swain out there and Gannon McCarron. They have folks who can handle the ball, so there's no need to dominate it. There are very few, Bob Cousy, Rajon Rondos out there who can dribble out a clock on their own.
Yeah, I agree. Proctor definitely needs to get a stop.
By the way,
here.
for all of you young people, Bob Cousy was a great player, known for his dribbling and passing.
Adding in a little bit of a history lesson.
Look it up. Well, now Green Mountain comes back, 39 seconds left, with the opportunity to take the lead.
Rebound's huge. A good job by Nick Swain.
And in general, he's not a guy you want to foul. Excellent foul shooter. Excellent shooter. He's been off tonight. Been off tonight on the jump shot, but
sometimes when you're out of rhythm, a little extra aggressive defense can do that to a good shooter.
But free throws are a different story. He rattles in the first one to put Proctor up by 2.
Nick Swain can make this next free throw. It's huge for the Proctor Phantoms.
Alyssa, Valerio, are you going to buy me ice cream if it goes into double overtime?
I might have to.
24 seconds left.
Proctor shouldn't be afraid to foul.
And Green Mountain. Green Mountain takes a timeout with 14 seconds left.
Proctor really shouldn't be afraid to foul, though stopping the clock would be in the favor of Green Mountain here at this point in the game.
Proctor remains without a foul in this half or overtime.
Whereas Green Mountain has 9.
Which is, at this point, it's probably even considered a little low going through a whole halftime and overtime. But to have none, that's a little odd. This time Proctor has the opportunity to plan their defense for the last 14 seconds of the game. And the last time down, Proctor was looking at trying to get that shot. Tell you, everybody'd rather be up by 2.
Defense at this point in the game is all effort and all heart,
Let's see what Green Mountain has up its sleeve. Having some difficulty getting the ball in bounds. And
using his last timeout, I believe, of the overtime.
I couldn't see. What it appeared happened is the Green Mountain player inbounding the ball attempted to throw it off the Proctor player's legs because he felt he was getting close on the 5-second call. But when he did it, the Proctor player was able to move out of the way and keep the ball in play without it going off him. And then there was a scrum on the floor, and Proctor came up with the ball.
Proctor did exactly what they had to that last, I'm not sure how many seconds that was, but that last play.
About 4 seconds came off the clock from the timeout to right now.
Everyone was right up on their person, they're close enough to grab their jersey, and that's what they needed out of that out of bounds, and good pressure by the person guarding the out of bounder. I believe that was Kyle Miles, who jumped out of the way of that attempted throwing off the knee by the Green Mountain player.
Oddly enough, I didn't see Green Mountain. I didn't see them set a screen on that out of bounds play at all.
I think that they were just trying to get it in bounds.
Now the ball comes in to Nick Swain, rushes up court right in front of us, and
again, the person you don't want to be fouling. Now these two hoops could put the game away for Proctor. All focus and discipline at this point.
There's one. Proctor up by 3. 8 seconds left. Green Mountain does have timeouts left. Misses the second. There's still an opportunity. And a shot. And it's good. Ties the game at the buzzer.
Are you ready for the ice cream?
A three-pointer from 25 feet off the dribble. At the buzzer.
That number 4 is getting everything he wanted this whole game. Picking him up earlier would have prevented that.
That was one heck of a shot.
You know, it was actually shot, not just heaved.
And you know, I hate to say this, but when it comes right down to it, there are 3 things that tend to win most games. Defense, hitting your layups, and hitting your free throws. And free throws down the stretch could have iced this for Proctor. But, you know, we're all human. We aren't, you can't hit everything all the time.
Very true,
and,
especially at this level.
And you can't, you know, you can never predict that somebody's going to hit a pull-up 25-footer to tie the game. But here we are in overtime number 2.
Now let's see how that three-pointer, if that brings any momentum into this double overtime.
Now the scorekeeper's taking off the...
One more timeout each for each coach here in this double overtime game.
And they jump it again for another 4-minute overtime.
You know, when you get into really long games like this, sometimes it comes down to which team's in better shape, which team can play defense longer, which team can continue to push the ball at this point in the game when they're exhausted, and which team can hit shots when they're tired.
And Green Mountain gets on the board first in the second overtime. Takes the lead 45-43. Proctor comes back for its turn. Tried a back screen there with a lob to Kyle Miles, and that was sufficiently clogged up. Now there was a pick and roll with Curtis Tomlinson. In my opinion, you got to get Logan Landon out of there because he's not going to do anything for you. Gannon McCarron, good shot. You know, kid's got a good release, and I think that he's going to, at some point, he's really going to start hitting those shots because they come out of his hand nice. He doesn't seem to be afraid to take them. They just haven't fallen tonight.
Yeah, and sometimes that confidence in the shot's the tough part, but the fact that he's willing to take them, especially at this point in the game, says a lot.
Proctor's still in the man-to-man. Green Mountain screening away.
Yeah,
swinging the ball.
Good job by Nick Swain. Proctor definitely should not be afraid to give some fouls at this point.
Again, they went through the whole second half and the whole first overtime without a foul, and we're down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds left.
They should recognize, though, that
Green Mountain is taking some time off the clock. Make this game shorter, and they don't need to take shots. When you're up,
Proctor should recognize the fact that Green Mountain does have 10 fouls, though, so they will be shooting 2 foul shots from this point on in the game.
Yeah, they should try to make sure when they get the ball back that they take the ball to the hoop, see if they can pick up those fouls.
Very clutch block by Logan Landon.
Green Mountain wanted a timeout, I think.
I
think the only people on the floor who didn't recognize that they wanted a timeout was the 2 refs.
And it's the only people that you want.
A timeout.
What were you watching?
Little funny interlude with one of the referees who I've known for 25 years or more, back in his former life. said, "Geezy," he goes, "Geezy, I think were they trying to get my attention?"
I ran all the way up to him.
I think so. Sometimes you got it. I've actually seen a time when they weren't getting the attention of the coach. The coach ran right out on the floor to get the timeout. The ref teed him up for running out on the floor. He says, "I couldn't get your attention."
Yeah, it's tough. What are you expecting to see from Proctor's defense this time? I'm almost curious if they're going to run some type of trap off the ball.
It looks right now like they're in man-to-man, and they let the ball in, to me, too easy.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's another one of those things, though, that Proctor believes that they're slower, so they're giving them a little bit too much space.
Green Mountain quicker to the ball again. I don't know how well advised that three-pointer was, but if he had hit it, that would have put him up 5 with 1 minute and 38 seconds left. In the meantime, Green Mountain was able to get the rebound.
Still a fair amount of time left in this game, though.
Yeah, absolutely. 1 minute and 38, as we've seen in the prior 2 endings of the game, is a lifetime in a game like this. Well, we had regular time, then we had overtime, now we got super overtime. Pretty soon we're going to super duper overtime, and the scorekeeper's going to be past his bedtime.
He's out ready for the...
Pretty soon it'll be...
I put the foul score in twice already.
Pretty soon it'll be daylight savings time, and we'll have to start all over again. Clock will go to an hour. Again, Proctor's got to play the defense. They got to get up. I mean, they got no fouls, none at all. They didn't touch anybody for 30-something minutes at this point.
And here's what I'm saying is, if they're getting up on their players and they're a little bit quicker, foul them and don't let them pass you.
Well, that's what a shirt is there for. That's what you got to get a hold of something. I mean, look at right in the backcourt. Ball comes in a little bit too easy. If you can't grab your player at this point, you're too far away. And hey, as players at this level tend to do, there was a mistake on a back door and turned the ball over to Proctor, and here we go again. Nick Swain got all the way to the hoop, did everything right except hit the shot.
Yeah, not a bad take. They needed to. Green Mountain definitely with a younger crew out there is making a couple more mistakes than I think they would have otherwise.
Tried a bit with the Euro step, and I think he went Czechoslovakian step that time.
A little too far.
Little bit too far. And
Proctor needs to be patient at this point in the game.
This is not the NBA, so you don't get that extra step. Proctor doing a good job moving themselves, moving the ball. High picks.
Really being patient. Really looking for that layup.
Wide open for that 3. Rims out. Proctor on the floor.
Not sure that 3 is necessarily the shot you're looking for at this point in the game. But, he was open. It wasn't a bad shot.
Proctor getting their hands on the ball all over the place. That ball looked like it was...
clearly off Curtis Tomlinson, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but I'm not the one calling the game. Green Mountain coaches are probably rightfully incredulous at this point, but nevertheless, Proctor has the ball with 25 seconds, down by 2. Does this remind you of anything, Alyssa?
Oh.
How about everything in the last 15 minutes? That's what it reminds me of. Is this Groundhog Day? I thought that was a month from now. Nevertheless, 18 seconds.
Proctor still with no fouls. Can't even comprehend that at this point in the game, but I did play with some relatively aggressive teams over my years.
Yeah, that's true.
I think everyone in this gym is sweating. The refs, the players, the audience. A little too close for comfort.
Seems like somehow the audience has thinned out, or they've all gone to the back wall. 2 too tired of leaning forward and wondering what the heck's going to happen next.
Me too.
Again,
a little too intense for me. Again, Proctor needs to recognize the fact that Green Mountain has 10 fouls, you know. Going to the foul line at this point in the game not only gets them 2 free shots, but it stops the clock.
The way this seems, however, I mean, I think the refs are swallowing the whistles for the last 18 seconds. Short of a bloodbath, I don't know that they're going to blow that whistle.
As they shouldn't, I believe, unless it's blatant. Because
you want the players winning the game. You don't want the refs being involved to make the final decision. Ball into Curtis Tomlinson in the backcourt.
High screen from Logan Landon. No, just kidding.
Back door by Nick Swain. High screen and roll. Curtis trying to turn the corner. Gannon McKieran off the mark, but ball seems to go off. Yeah, I think that time it was correct. Went off Green Mountain with 2 seconds left. And as we know, that's plenty of time.
On the ball! Get on the ball!
Swain for 3. Rims it out. And Proctor loses a heartbreaker at home. 45-43. And again, ending the half with no personal fouls whatsoever. What an odd game. Proctor up very early by 11 points. Looked like they were going to run away with the game. And Green Mountain started hitting shots as the first half started to close the game within 4 points. And then as the second half drew on, they started to hit some shots, pull ahead. Ultimately, Proctor ties the game at the end of regulation.
You know, when you lose by 2 points in double overtime, I think this was a relatively equal match game.
Yeah, they look very similar. The only thing you can say about this game is it seemed that at various times in the game when they really needed the ball, Green Mountain had a little bit more energy. Nevertheless, I guess we'll close it out from here. What an excellent game to watch. Proctor loses this game at home in a close one in double overtime. Green Mountain 45, Proctor 43. Matt Valerio and Alyssa Valerio saying good night and see you next time.